every graduation, every birthday, he was with me. But it was always a sense I had to catch up or I had to learn more because he wasn't always with me. But he's turned out great, and I'm really happy about that.
She said, hey, we're having another baby. And I was okay with just one. And I love this one so much. I said, how am I going to, if I love him 100%, am I only going to love, the other one 50% and him 50%? And it was really, really difficult for me to figure out how I was going to find more love for the next one. And that really challenged me because, trying to be true to myself. I mean, I loved my first one. And I said, how in the heck am I going to, am I only going to love him 50% now? I love him 50%. And I asked an older guy, I said, he had a bunch of kids. And he says, Arnold, you'll find a way. Don't worry about it. And I did. And I do love them both in their own unique way. And one of the challenges that I have is that the real thing is they learn from you what you do, not so much with what you say.
Like masculinity, I think that's been a challenge, and we're all growing up in this society where you're taught certain ways to behave, to be a man or something like that. Some of it's not healthy, right? And I just think about if he picks up on that, is he gonna do the same things that I don't want? Like you said, just because you say don't do that, they see you do it, so then they're just gonna do the same thing. And so it's trying to be mindful and just stopping myself when I have those moments like, oh wait, that's not really that cool. I should say this or shouldn't do this in front of him. I want to break that, way of being a man in a not so healthy way.
10 years ago, I have a 10-year-old and have a 6-year-old, two beautiful little girls. And for me, to this day, it's still like the most rewarding thing in my life. Sometimes I think like my life changed about 10 years ago, and it just changed for the better, really. The gratification, the love that a person, you never really know how much you can love someone until you have a child. And for me, it became such a big part of my identity to be a father. I'm able to really be in a place where I can really give fully of myself and be able to receive as well. And I learned a lot about myself. I mean, as a result of being a dad, I feel like I'm a better man, I'm a better husband, I'm a better son, I'm a better brother. I'm just a better human being. I think a lot about what kind of person I want to be, and what kind of person someday I want my daughters to be able to say, and knowing in their hearts like that man was the best man that he could be. He was the best father they could be, and only they will know someday if I'm gonna be a dad or not. But I have those two little girls just motivate me so much, and in the last 10 years I've been the happiest I've been really my whole life. And kids do this thing where they give you liberty just to enjoy life a little bit more. You enjoy the simple things, like when you go to the park and you get to go down the slide because you're with your kids. For Halloween you get to dress up and be silly because you're being silly for your kids, right? So it's kind of like the excuse, but you're having fun. You're enjoying all these things so much more, and you're trying to teach them, right? And you're learning a lot about yourself, like I said earlier. And like I said, it's become such a big part of my identity that now when people see me, that's the first thing that they ask: how are your kids doing? And that feels good to me because it says that people see me as a good father, and they know that that's one of the things that's most important in my life. So that's what they always ask me about first.
When my mother was like, "Can I grab your baby?" I'm like, "Yeah, but do you know how to grab a baby?" She said, "Boy, I had 5 of you guys. How would I not know?" And so I just remember people grabbing my baby. And I'm like, you gotta watch the head. The head is like tilted, so you gotta make sure you have it right. And my mom laughed at me, but I just wanted to make sure that my baby was safe and that was being grabbed right. Because I also remember the doctors just grabbing her, lifting her ear up and her leg up and her head and just looking at everything. And I was kind of freaking out. And then I remember when they took my baby, and I think they weigh him. So they take him from your room, and I was super freaked out. I think I followed the doctor, and I just made sure that I seen every single step until they brought the baby back. But that was a funny moment for me because I forgot, my mother had 5 of us, and I was just anybody who wanted to grab my baby and hold my baby, I was just like, actually, I'll let you. You'll wait till she gets a little bit bigger. It was a few people I said no to, but my mom, I think she grabbed it, and I still had my hands under her, like just making sure my baby wouldn't fall.
We're at a hospital. How am I gonna make sure I get the right baby back? I was like, I better get the right baby back here. I remember getting up like several times during the night, and the baby's just laying there, right? So I remember actually pushing, like actually waking her up, and just to make sure that she was breathing, And I did that for days after she came home from the hospital.
I would do all my studying late at night. So I'd be late at night, and then in the morning I'd be up and gone out the house, go to class, go to school, and work. And so every time I knew it was time for me to take a break was when she would wake up at about 2:30 in the morning.
Wow.
So 2:30 in the morning, she'd be up. She'd start moving around in the crib, had the intercom from one room to the other room, and then I'd hear her and all this stuff, and then go get her. It's like, all right, time to put this stuff away. Now it's time to just be with her. And I'd feed her with the bottle and all that, and then just rock her to sleep, and then we both just like knocked out, just rocking, just holding sleep, and then both would just like doze off. But then I'm like, again, more nervous that I'm gonna like roll over. You know what I mean? And so all of that, and then it's really just being protective over, but also really started to learn how to just take care of. And that was a big thing for me because it was growing up, it was hard for me to even show emotion. Even smiling when I was happy, man, I wouldn't smile. So I pretend like I was whatever. And so even just being able to like really just care and hold and do all that stuff and change your diapers, make sure like now other little kids, if they got a full diaper, like I'm on it. I'm like, the diaper needs to get changed. How did you know? Like we can see it's sagging. The diaper's sagging, or a baby comes through the house and it's like it's get that whiff like running through them. You get that whiff like whoo. And so and then there's been the thing just happened a couple of weeks ago. They're like, I said, hey, the baby's did a number 2. And they're like, Liz, oh yeah, your baby did. How did you know? I was like, it's there.
And so to sleep during that time, you forget about how hard that time was, so then you're willing to have another kid. Because I barely remember that, but as y'all were talking, I totally started to remember. I was also in school too during the time when my son was born, and we tried all kinds of schedules because it was just hard for her because he kept on waking up and she was breastfeeding, and so I wanted to help out in some way, and so we're like, okay, why don't you pump, and then you can sleep a little longer, and I'll just stay with the baby. And this is probably 1 month old, and so like you, I would just finish studying and I'd just go to bed, with him next to, like, with that side sleeper bed next to you. And I remember the first couple of days, like, he would wake up and in the middle just crying, and okay, I'm like, all right, okay, I got this. I learned the system. Number 1, check the diaper. Okay, it's not wet, it's no poop. All right, that's cool. Number 2, see if they're hungry, right? Try to feed them. And then he's not taking it. And then 3rd one, try to burp them, right? Okay, so I got all 3. And then I'm like, yo, I did all 3. Why are you still crying? And it's like 3 in the morning, and we were actually staying at my in-laws' house at that time. So everybody's sleeping, and I'm just like, what's good? I checked your diaper again, no poop. And I just think of I was like thinking like a computer, something breaks down, you're like, okay, I'm gonna restart the computer, I would do 1, 2, 3, but it wasn't working. And I was like, there's no call support. There's no one I can holler to try to help me out. And I was like, oh man. That's when I felt like, oh, this is what being a father means. You gotta figure this out on your own. And then I tried all kinds of things, with sing, put on music, with dance, do just whatever imagination you could come up with. But I think it was during that time, it's like, even though it was stressful and like, didn't know what answer there was, it was the part of like connecting. And I remember there's many mornings that when his mom came into the room and he would just be like sleeping on my chest because it was like you're so tired that you just end up like, okay, please just go to sleep somehow. And we both knock out like that. But that was real touching and bonding. I almost forget that, but that was really important in our connection and development. Of course he doesn't remember any of that now, but I feel like that just, I don't think anybody probably hear me sing those songs, that I did with him when he was a little baby, because normally you'd be too embarrassed or something, or do a dance move or whatever that you'd be doing, but that was a special connection,
I think that's one of the best things about being a dad. I think you all said that, is that you create a path, and it's not just what you say, it's what you do. And do it with, it's not everything you're gonna do is gonna be right, but I think if they can see that you're a decent human being and you care about other people, then that's sort of what they're gonna see. And I think that's the path that hopefully they can take. I like being a grandfather because I get to the joy of it, but I don't have to do the day-to-day.
Time to give them a strong foundation or a strong grounding.
Absolutely.
But at the same time allowing them to be whoever they can be.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I've seen, I have my two girls, and in some ways they're a lot alike, and a lot of ways they're different. And they're just different.
Temperaments.
There's different styles, different, and sometimes I think, how can you be so different? Like I'm raising you exactly the same way. You're in the same house, you're around the same people, and you're just so different. And so different to the point where like I, as a parent, as a father, need to think about how am I addressing this one when things are not going well. It's different from how I work with my younger one. My older one is she's very thoughtful, and she's very verbal, whereas my youngest one, she's a little fireball. So my oldest one, I can say, don't, you shouldn't be doing this, and she won't do it. I just have to tell her once. And my younger one, I have to watch my tone of voice. Because if my tone of voice is too strong, or she'll come back at me just as strong, So there's a different way that I have to work with them. That I have to talk to them, and So but even that is like so rewarding to be able to see two different little people, and it's very exciting to, I look forward to seeing them grow up, and I look forward to seeing who they become.
Do you ever apologize to your child? And I was kind of like, apologize? And he was like maybe 6 at the time. I was like, can I say sorry to my 6-year-old? That just seems weird to me. And I thought about it some more, and it's like, why is that so weird, right? Do I just treat them like because they're younger, they're not as developed or something like that? And because there were times like I would feel guilty, like, I raised my voice too hard at them, or maybe I was tired from a long day of work or something like that, and I just wasn't, willing to do something or whatever it is. And, he's more sensitive, and I sometimes I just like, expect to treat him like the way that I am, but he's a different person, right? Just like your daughters are, 2 different personalities. And so I started recognizing that, and I just say, he didn't have much to respond to, but just saying that, like, hey, the other morning, I want to just apologize, 'cause I was probably, I raised my voice, it was probably too harsh, and I was just tired or whatever. And he was so understanding. He's like, oh, it's okay, Dad, whatever. And I was just like laughing, because I'm like, this 6-year-old has like more wisdom and patience than I had in that moment. He's just like, it's cool, I still love you, whatever. And it's just a reminder to me that, it's okay. You're going to make mistakes, but to recognize it, reflect on it.
To all them fathers who couldn't make it, and this is to you all for being fathers and grandfathers, and maybe being fathers again, if you guys want to have another one or 2 more.
Salute to all my men who got daddy duties.
So,
I still
gentlemen,
remember when you first born,
men,
my little
fatherhood
kid.
on 3.
I was the big
1,
beast
2,
and you
3,
was my
fatherhood.
little I'ma protect you, respect you, and may
All right,
God
gentlemen,
bless you. I'ma
grab some
challenge
water,
you,
please
yes.
grab
I'ma
some
correct you, check you. If you fall off, I'll reconnect you. You special.